children, everybody like pet animals. Do you like pets? I love pet animals. In my home, I have a pet doggy and her name is Steffi, and a pet rabbit. She is Silsila. Do you have pet in your home? We can see lot of animals, birds, insects and fishes in our surroundings. Wherever we go, we can see small animals, insects and birds such as cow, dog, horse, donkey, hen, beetle, butterfly, frog, cockroach, lizard, snail, parrot, snake, crow, etc. Now, answer my question. Is there only one lizard or only one elephant or only one tortoise in the world? No, isn't it? We can see more animals, birds, insects in our earth. Then how it is possible? Yes, children, it is possible because all living beings can reproduce their young ones. This is known as reproduction. So, what is reproduction? Reproduction means the process of producing young ones is known as reproduction. Once again, I'll repeat. Reproduction means the process of producing young ones is known as reproduction. Reproduction takes place by means of two ways. The first one is egg-laying animals, and the second one is directly give birth to their young ones. The young ones are just the same kind as their parents, and the living beings live for certain period of lifespan. Some living things have a lifespan of only few hours, like mayflies. They have shortest lifespan of any animal on earth, while some animals can live for many years. They die when their lifespan is completed. The living beings must reproduce more of their own kind before they die. If they do not reproduce, the species may get extinct. Now, let's see the first one, that is egg-laying animals. Most animals other than mammals reproduce by laying eggs. These eggs are either left to hatch out in the sun or buried in sand or incubated, which means kept warm by the mother or the father sitting on it. The developing baby, which is called the embryo, gets its food and it is protected by the different layers in the egg. Children, have you seen an egg? Yes, I think most of the people like to eat an egg. We can prepare different varieties of dishes with the egg, and it is also very yummy, isn't it? We all know about egg and its color. Now, let's see the structure of an egg. It has 4 major parts. The first layer is shell. It is the outer covering of an egg. It is usually thin and protects the growing baby. And the second layer is albumin. It is a white jelly-like substance present within the eggshell, and it is rich in proteins. The third layer is yolk. It contains fats, minerals, and vitamins. The last layer is embryo. The growing babies inside the egg is called embryo. I'll repeat again. The growing babies inside the egg is called embryo. It takes food from the yolk. It is a tiny red spot in the yolk. The embryo develops into a chick. The various stages of development started from an embryo to a mature adult is called life cycle of an animals. I'll repeat again. The various stages of the development started from an embryo to a mature adult is called life cycle of an animals. Okay, children, what is meant by life cycle? Do you have any idea about this? Yes, life cycle means the continuous sequence of changes undergoes by an organism from primary form to the development of the same form again. I'll repeat once again. Life cycle means the continuous sequence of changes undergoes by an organism from primary form to the development of the same form again. In our lesson, we have 4 types of life cycle. 1. Life cycle of hen. 2. Life cycle of butterfly. 3. Life cycle of frog. 4. Life cycle of cockroach. Now, let's see the first one. 1. Life cycle of hen. We all know birds make nest. They lay eggs in the nest to keep their egg safe and warm. But how the egg becomes the baby bird? Let's take an example of a chicken. The life cycle of chicken has the following stages. First, the hen lays her eggs in the nest. Then, the hen sits on the eggs for a few weeks to keep them warm. This is because of the fact that an embryo grows to an adult. 2. Life cycle of butterfly. A butterfly lays eggs on the leaves of a plant. These eggs hatch and young ones called larvae or caterpillars come out of the eggs. The caterpillar first feeds on the eggshell from which it is born. It then starts feeding on the leaves and starts to grow. The caterpillar sheds its skin several times so that it can grow. Once the caterpillar is big enough, it stops eating. It then forms a protective layer around itself. This is called cocoon. In this stage, the caterpillars, now called pupa. Now, it undergoes the process of growth and development inside the cocoon. This changing its form and structure is termed as metamorphosis. After 15 days, the cocoon splits open and butterfly comes out of it. Now, let's see the life cycle of frog. The life cycle of frog start with female frog laying hundreds of eggs, generally in a pond, river, lake, and in water forms that vary in sizes, colors, and shapes with different species. These eggs float on the surface of the water, coated with a jelly-like substance that act as a protective layer. But despite that, most of the eggs get destroyed due to various natural calamities like wind and rain, due to which only a few get fertilized. This mass of fertilized egg in the jelly is known as spawn. I'll repeat again. This mass of fertilized egg in the jelly is known as spawn. After a few days, a baby frog known as tadpoles hatches out of the egg that looks more like a fish than a frog and feed on the yolk of the egg from which it came out. Well, as time passes by, tadpoles develop external gills that help them breathe under the water. Their tail begins to elongate and fins also develop. Now, they spend their time eating plants and algae as they continue to grow for several weeks. After a few weeks, the external gills begin to disappear and hind limbs start to appear. Then, after a few weeks, the tadpoles begins to look somewhat like a frog as it turns into a froglet. And during this stage, the forelimbs and lungs were developed. Now, they can breathe outside of water. And on the final stage, their tail becomes smaller and smaller, gradually disappear. Then it hops right out of the water and onto dry land. For the first time, where it enters the adult stage in the next couple of years to lay their eggs, and more tadpoles hatches, the life cycle continue. So, the life cycle of frog has 4 stages. In the first stage, they lay eggs and a layer of jelly-like substance holds the eggs together called spawn. Once again, I'll repeat. In first stage, they lay eggs and a layer of jelly-like substance holds the eggs together called spawn. In second stage, external gills appear and the tail get elongates. So, they can move like a fish at this stage. In third stage, the tadpoles develop into a froglet. At this stage, the external gills begin to disappear. Forelimbs and lungs developed. And finally, it becomes adult. Some animals and insects go through several changes before they become adult. This biological process by which an animal physically goes through different forms before it finally becomes an adult is called metamorphosis. Life cycle of frog and butterfly are example for metamorphosis because caterpillar and tadpole undergoes many changes and then develops into an adult butterfly and frog. This process is called metamorphosis. And the last one is life cycle of cockroach. We all may have seen cockroaches. The cockroach is found in your kitchen and it is also found in your living room, bedroom, everywhere. Sometimes it is even found in your classroom. Look at this. It's a cockroach and it is brown in color. A cockroach is the oldest insect on the earth. A cockroach feeds on the vegetables, biscuits, fruits, and food. Like a butterfly and a frog, a cockroach too has many stages in its life cycle. Students, let's discuss the different stages of the life cycle. A cockroach lays her eggs in many places. The case of a cockroach is dark brown in color. It is too small. A female cockroach may lay her eggs on the edges of old suitcases. It may lay eggs on old rugs. It is also may lay eggs in between the old cloths. Usually, a cockroach lay its eggs in safe and heat places. After 6 to 8 weeks, an egg of cockroach hatches into a larva. But the larva does not look like a worm. It is a young cockroach like an adult. So, the young cockroach is not called a larva. It is called a nymph. A nymph of a cockroach is small and white in color. The nymph feeds on decaying and old matter. Like the larva of butterfly, a cockroach nymph too sheds its old skin. Shedding of the old skin is known as molting. I'll repeat again. Shedding of the old skin is known as molting. A nymph may undergo 5 to 19 molting before it changes into an adult cockroach. Every time a nymph molts, it's become larger and darker. Usually, it takes 3 to 6 weeks to grow into an adult cockroach. Sometimes, only after 2 years, a nymph grows into an adult cockroach. The larva of butterfly first changes into a pupa. The pupa is the resting period of butterfly, isn't it? But a nymph in a cockroach does not change into a pupa. It directly changes into an adult. So, a cockroach does not have a resting phase in its life cycle. Now, let's see about mammals. What is meant by mammals? Yes, animals which reproduce by giving birth to babies are called mammals. I'll repeat again. Animals which reproduce by giving birth to babies are called mammals. And what are the characteristics of mammals? I'll explain. 1. Mammals have lungs to breathe. Once again, I'll repeat. Mammals have lungs to breathe. 2. They are warm-blooded, means the temperature of the body does not change with the change in environment. 3. Their bodies are covered with hair. 4. They have well-developed brains and external ears. 5. Mothers feed their young ones with their milk. 6. The important character is they show parental care, which means when the babies are born, the most of them are weak and helpless and are taken care of by the mothers till they are able to take care of themselves. Animals which reproduce by giving birth to babies are called mammals, such as dog, cat, horse, lion, and human beings are mammals. And bats can fly like birds, but they are mammals. And the dolphin and whales look like fish, but they are mammals. Okay, children, take your classwork and start writing. Roman 4. Answer these questions in 1 or 2 sentences. Question 1. Define nymph. N-Y-M-P-H. Nymph. Answer. In cockroaches, the baby insect which comes out of an egg is known as nymph. N-Y-M-P-H. Nymph. Question 2. List the 3 stages that occur in the life cycle of a frog. Answer. 1. Egg. 2. Tadpole. And 3. Adult. Question 3. Name any 3 reptiles that lay their eggs in the ground. Answer. Reptiles like snakes, lizards, crocodiles, and turtles lay their eggs in holes in the ground. Question 4. Name 2 animals that look like fish but are mammals. Answer is whales. W-H-A-L-E-S. Whales. And dolphins. D-O-L-P-H-I-N-S. Dolphins. Look like fish, but they are mammals. They give birth to babies. Question 5. How do insects reproduce? Answer. All insects like butterflies, cockroaches, and houseflies reproduce by laying eggs. Roman 5. Answer in detail. Question 1. What is reproduction? Explain. The two ways of reproduction in animals. Answer. Reproduction. REPRODUCTION. Reproduction is a process by which living beings produce young ones of their own kind. These are two ways of reproduction in animals. 1. By giving birth of babies. 2. By laying egg. Question 2. List any 4 characteristics of mammals. 1. Mammals have lungs to breathe. 2. Their bodies are covered with hair. 3. They have well-developed brains and external ears. 4. Mammals show parental care. Mother feed their young ones with their milk. Question 3. Draw and label the structure of an egg. Children, here draw the diagram using pencil and label the parts. In page number 20. Question 4. Explain with a labeled diagram the 4 stages in the life cycle of butterfly. Children, draw the diagram here in page number 21. Answer. 1. Butterfly has 4 stages in their life cycle. They reproduce by laying eggs. Egg hatches into larva or caterpillar. In pupa stage, caterpillar makes the covering around itself called cocoon. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar develops into an adult butterfly. After some time, the cocoon splits open and thick butterfly comes out of it. Here, draw the diagram, page number 21. Question 5. Why do fish and frogs lay so many eggs? Answer. Fish and frogs lay so many eggs at one time, but a few of them grow into an adult fish and adult frog. As big fish eat many of these eggs. Thank you, children.